Blunt concepts and solutions. Solutions that meet the moment.
What's going on, everybody? This is Mr. BCS coming at you again with this week's topic in my family court series. This week's topic is triggers. Last video we talked about judges and how they trigger you. Today we're going to talk about lawyers and how lawyers trigger you. Lawyers are sharks for a reason. They don't even spit the bones out. They will take you and milk you for everything you have. With a smile on their face, mind you. And that's in my humble opinion. Because I've had 3 lawyers and a father's right advocate. And one thing I can tell you about all 3 lawyers that I had was that they all wanted more money. They all said the right stuff. They all had the right pedigree. They all had the right resume. But when it actually came down to getting the job done, they folded like lawn chairs. You know, you'll get this, oh, I just can't believe it didn't work. I don't know what's going on. That judge is crazy. You know, we should try this. And then you sit there and, you know, you're in your emotions. You don't know what to do. You know, if you're like me and you had a family, that you can't spend that much money on this shit because, you know, you're taking away from the mouths that are actually in your home. And so you come to these walls, you come to these endpoints where you're like, should I stop now? Should I give up or should I continue to go? And I don't know about you guys, but I'm a former athlete. I like to compete. And this right here, this competition is not for no championship. This competition is for an actual young boy's life. I wanted to bring up some important information that a lot of these judges and these lawyers fail to look up when they are going and attacking fathers. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 18.3 million children, that's 1 in 4, live without a biological step or adoptive father in the home. Consequently, there's a father factor in nearly all of these societal ills facing America today. Research shows when a child is raised in a fatherless home, he or she is affected in the following ways. 4 times greater risk of poverty. 7 times more likely to become pregnant as a teen. 7 times more likely. More likely to have behavioral problems. More likely to face abuse and neglect. 2 times greater risk of infant mortality. More likely to abuse drugs and alcohol. That's just a short list of things that could potentially happen to a young man or a young woman that are raised in a single parent home. And these are stacked statistics. We know this. And yet, Black fathers, like myself, are being pushed away from our children. Now, in order for that to happen, you have to have culprits involved. Now, who's pushing this narrative? You know, I can see if you had a dad or a mom that was abusive, verbally, physically, mentally, emotionally. Yeah, they don't deserve to be around their child. But if a child has a father, and I'm just going to use myself as an example, with no criminal record, a history, long history of being a productive citizen of the community, went and taught, coached all over the world for that matter, to come into this small family court realm and have an accusation stir so many emotions between lawyers and judges. From that small time that particular judge or lawyer knows me, they've corrupted and broke down the nucleus of what a child needs. Not only do lawyers slander, they try to use the legal verbiage to try to go around you. If you're pro per, then they'll try to use the legal verbiage, start talking about section, blah, 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 this, that, and this, you know, and you just don't know what's going on. And then when you try to ask questions, because that is your right to ask questions, and like, I don't understand what's going on, you can have a judge tell you that you need to go and do your own homework. I'm not here to give you any type of legal advice. And so it's on you. And so she'll still make that order. And you just have to deal with it. Another thing that lawyers do that they can trigger you are payments. Because if you have a lawyer, even if you don't have a lawyer, and let's say your child has a minor's counsel, which is a lawyer that the judge has picked for your child because you and the mom cannot agree on anything. And so they need somebody who is quote unquote unbiased. And so they present minors counsel with both of you have to pay that bill. And so when you start that process, that's how they get you again. Because then it becomes, this guy doesn't talk to your child. I'll go off my experience, my example. The minors counselor that I had did not talk to my son at all, maybe once or twice. And that was only when the mom and I were at odds with what should happen. And then he would interject and give his opinion, which I would tell everybody, don't ever agree to minors counsel, because then it automatically takes decision making out of your hands and the mom's hands, and this person has control over your kid and what goes on. But payment wise with this minor counsel and any lawyer, they will charge you for everything. They will charge you for the paperclip they use to, and the manila folder they use to put your paperwork and your file in. They will charge you to read your email. 15 minutes of reading an email that had 2 sentences, but they'll charge you for that. They'll charge you for the paper. They'll charge you for them getting ready. They'll charge you for their gas to get to the courthouse. They'll even charge you for just sitting in the courthouse waiting. And all that stuff adds up, guys. It adds up. And don't fall for it, guys. But they'll tell you, hey man, I can't believe that happened, or whatever the case may be. And we're not really gonna charge you for that. And what they do is they'll do that every so often, thinking that you will think that, oh man, they're hooking me up. They're actually helping me, when they're not, because all they're gonna do is charge you on the back end anyways. So just remember that, guys, when you're dealing with lawyers, payments. You do have a lawyer, and you put that retainer down, and that retainer dries up like the Mojave Desert, and then you don't come back with that next payment. You think they're gonna still come and show up to your court case? No, they're not, because they're not invested like that. They're only invested because you give them the money. I've had lawyers that had 30 years of service, and then they go up in there into the courthouse and they stand in front of the judge and they're flicking through files on my time. I had one lawyer actually cite somebody else's case and then turn to me and said, I was just joking. I know this wasn't yours, with a straight face, and then still want to ask for a check. These are all triggering points, because for one, if you're like most Americans, you don't make enough money. You don't make a lot of money. And when you have to get a lawyer that's costing you $395 an hour, $425 an hour, and that's on the low scale for decent lawyers. If you have a little bit of money, you could be looking at thousands of dollars an hour. Do you think these lawyers are working super hard for you? But in actuality, they're not. It's their paralegals working hard, and they make fraction of what the lawyers make. So again, lawyers can trigger you as well. Make sure you have something that you can use as a coping skill. Make sure you learn how to process those emotions, guys, because they're gonna come at you, and you really need to know. Be firm if you do get a lawyer, and if you don't get a lawyer, make sure that you get a lot of consultations and figure it out. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below, smash that like button, and subscribe now. This is Mr. BCS. I'm out.